Hello friends, and welcome to Escaping the Mouse with your host, me, Breck Rowell. Alright, we're going to do something a little bit different today. This all started up in a post I got from Facebook a couple days ago. As you know, I do goofy little videos on the internet, on YouTube, and even occasionally do live streams. Well, I also have a Facebook page, and occasionally I broadcast stuff live to Facebook. Now, Facebook contacted me a couple days ago and said that some of my old live videos were about to be deleted because they don't want to store them anymore. And they gave me an option. I could either download them or delete them. And of course, I keep everything, so I chose to download them. And I was looking at some of them, and they're actually kind of some fun videos there. And I decided I wanted to do a little clip show. So today's video is going to be little clips from some of these live streams I've done of different things that kind of interest me. You know, sometimes I'll just put a camera out in the backyard and see what happens. Well, that's what this is going to be, is a bunch of clips of that kind of stuff. First thing I want to show you is a video from June of 2023. I was just, Flash was out and about, and I had some apples cut up, and I decided, you know what, we're going to put a camera on Flash and we're going to feed her some apples. You know, she loved them. Now, one of the first things that excited me about living in Texas was when I first saw fireflies. I'd seen fireflies before. We'd see them on our family vacations in northern Minnesota when I was a kid, but we didn't have fireflies in Southern California, and so it was really kind of exciting the first time I saw them. And I've always kind of made it a point where when they start getting busy in early and mid-May, and sometimes late May, to get out there and do some filming of them, because like I said, I love them. They're really cool, and we just didn't have them in California. Now, I like the fact that there's a lot of local wildlife in the area. In fact, I feed a lot of it to try and keep it visiting. I have bird feeders, I have a bird bath, I feed the local squirrels in the neighborhood, and so it's not uncommon for there to be local wildlife here. And every once in a while, though, you put the camera out and you do capture something kind of cool. And I'm sure this shot has nothing to do with the fact that I set the camera up ahead of time and put a little pile of food there right in front of the camera, hoping to elicit this type of reaction. Alright, this video we're going to go way back in time. This is back to 2016 when I was still living in California. That was 4 years before I did my first vlog, let alone any live streams. At the time I had a reoccurring issue with possums in the backyard. I had a fish pond in the backyard and I didn't really have a problem with the possums using the fish pond for water. The problem is they were also using it for food. And I'd get up sometime in the morning and there'd be like a fish massacre all over the backyard where, you know, there'd be dead halves of fish all over the place. And so whenever I saw a possum in the backyard, I immediately said, okay, we got to capture it and relocate it. And I did that probably 10, 12, 14 times in the time I was there. This is one of the cases where I did it where I actually chose to live stream. And keep your eyes open. I had a guest visitor on this trip who you may recognize. Alright, so here we are again. Another possum release. This one I caught a couple nights ago. Have a special guest participant with me today. The man himself who captured it, who seems more interested in something in the bushes over there right now than the fact that he's live on the internet, but that's just who he is. Looks like I got lousy connection out here, so I may be dropping in and out, but we're down along the Santa Ana River here. A little bit of wildlife out here. And this is our guest of honor today. Another one of these cases where he kind of trashed the cage overnight, so I had to hose him out again. So he's nice and clean, ready for reintroduction into the new world here. So this is always exciting. Stay back, Jaw. Grab the tail, pull him out of here. Wants to figure out what's going on right now because this is all new, taking it all in. Jaw is obviously very interested in what's going on. Figuring out maybe this place isn't so bad. That's right, you found him, didn't you? And there we go. Off to start a new life, huh, Jaw? You gonna miss him? Yeah, I think you're gonna, aren't you? If you watch this channel for any length of time, you know I love the extreme weather that we get here. And can't help but put those on live streams from time to time, especially if there's a good dousing of rain or especially some lightning and thunder. Now here in Central Texas, in addition to the thunderstorms, we can get some pretty serious hailstorms. It's not uncommon on the weather radio for me to hear them talking about golf ball size hail, baseball size hail. That happens down here. And in fact, I know it happens because one of the homeowners reports I read when I was buying this house indicates that the owner had recently replaced the roof because of hail damage. So I know that's a possibility here. I haven't seen a whole lot of it, but I did see this one storm, and we had a little bit of pea-size hail. I guess I can live with that. You heard that one, didn't you? This next clip is when I experienced my first real tornado warning, where the weather radio was saying, yeah, there's a tornado on the ground, the tornado sirens are going off in town, and you knew I was taking every precaution to protect myself and get into that storm shelter, so I made sure I made it through this, right? Yeah, right. All right, I don't know if you can hear it yet, but the air raid sirens are going off now. I just got a warning on the weather radio saying that it's coming up northeast off of Temple, and it's given estimates of cities right along here in Waco that are in the zone of totality. Listen to that. Air raid sirens. Only in Texas. Now here's some thunder coming from there. I don't know if you can see the rainbow over there. Yeah, those are tornado sirens, Jeff. They just came on a minute ago. I've been watching this storm coming in for the last couple hours. It's getting stronger and stronger. And about 30 minutes ago, I got a warning on the weather radio that there was actually a tornado in Bell County, which is Temple. That's down where I do Silo of Screams. That's where the Buc-ee's that I've been to a couple times is, and it's basically in that direction right now. And apparently it was going to go right through the middle of Temple, and they're giving estimates over the next 20 minutes coming up the I-35 corridor. So yeah, this is the closest thing to a real tornado I've ever been a part of. Definitely got the tornado shelter ready. No, I'm not feeling any electricity in the air. It's raining a little bit. I can kind of hear some thunder right now coming from there. Now there's a voice coming through. I can't quite make out what the voice is saying, but now the sirens are back on again. Now, for those of you who've been watching for a while, you know that right at the beginning when I moved here, I wanted to kind of experience a bunch of the things that it meant to be Waco. And one of the things I latched onto really early was the Silo of Screams. The first Halloween I was here, I went up to there just to see the attraction, end up getting recruited into the team and have been playing a role on Silo of Screams every year since then. Unfortunately, with my new job, I can't do as much as I'd like to anymore, but I still do try and have a part of it every year. This was, I think, the second year that I went, and at this point I was already working there, and I was taking a little break, and I decided to go live. Alright, we are live at Silo of Screams. Look at all the people here. This is insane. I knew this was going to be a big thing when I drove up and there was traffic to get in. Look at the thousands and thousands of people that are here. I'm out taking a little break right now. It's a little hot in there. That's just that's the incinerator right there where I am tonight. Having a blast. I'm only going to do this for a minute, but So I think that about wraps up our video for today. I kind of had a good time looking at some of these old clips. I hope you did too. Reminded me of some of the fun things that we've done in the past, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you as always for watching, and I'll see you next time on Escaping the Mouse. Good night.